Hi everyone, Elite Assassin here, and welcome back to my Monster Hunter World Let's Play and Tip series. Now today we're going to do our mission on the Kestodon, and I don't really know if I have anything exactly I want to talk about, but this mission is going to be a little bit more normal than, say, the last one where we were fighting the... what did we fight last time? Oh, just a little Jagras. So, first off, let's eat some food, which you should always eat some food before mission. I'm sure I said that before, but just in case you want to iterate, always eat. Let's pop on and get our login bonuses, and it's been a while since I played this character, so I have a full stack of them. And let's go talk to the handler.
Hey there, partner. You can pick up quests from the quest board, too. It lists the same quests that I've got, so don't worry about having to check two places.
And they're just a really simple tutorial saying, hey, you don't always have to come talk to her to do a quest. Some quests do make sure you have to talk to her beforehand, but, you know, you're good to go talk to the message boards and her, however you want to do it. Now down here we have some event quests which change every week. Down here we have the ability to join other people's quests, SOSs for people who need help, join quests for people who are in your server, and we have the normal post-a-quest area. These are the story quests, which I'm going to be doing for the Let's Play, of course. Now this kind of gives you a quick little tutorial on quests, using your vouchers, stuff like that. I'm not going to use my voucher on this one because I don't think you need any parts from the Kestodon, or I usually don't use anything from the Kestodon. They do have greaves, I believe. Now we accepted the quest, and now here's also another time when you can go eat. You do have this downtime after you accept the quest. And yeah, sometimes I'll do that. Or you go over here, do some item maintenance, make sure you have all the items you want. Right there I just refreshed the items I'm going to need, so make sure I have all that. I'm going to tidy up my item box a little bit, which also could be kind of important. And like I said, I'm going to go a little bit more into item management and using the mini bar and the quick wheel for using items a little bit later on, once we actually have a bunch of items. Probably in a few more episodes, I'd assume. Alright, now here we are, beginning of the quest. There might be some dialogue here, so I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. Over here in the beginning, always check this chest when you're on a quest, because there will always be items. And like I said before, don't be greedy. If you're there with friends or on a quest with other people, don't take all the items because they're meant to be shared. While on a quest, grabbing items or supplies is always helpful to do. Even later on when you have tons and you have access to the garden to grow your own, it's always good to just grab as many herbs as you can. And I think I said this before, but hey, it's always worth saying.
Those, my friend, are Kestodon. Let's see you take him out on your own.
Now, as he's saying, you know, it's always good to use scout flies to find what we're looking for. And here's the Kestodon being annoying. It's been a while since I've used the hammer, so please bear with me if I'm not doing the best. But these guys aren't really that much of a pain. Though they are a little annoying when they ram you, you're not paying attention, and there are another variant of them much later on in the game who, when trying to get a certain bone pile in one of the areas, really are a pain with their ramming. And I'm going to grab their parts just in case. Like I said, I know they have everything you can make from them, and I do believe they have palico gear too, so it's always worth taking the parts from the animals that you need. And I believe I also said this in my earlier videos, but in case you didn't see them, or maybe forgot, early rank gear is not worth grinding out unless you're having trouble beating something and need either resistance or better defense. They're really not worth grinding the monsters so you have all the sets, because it's going to become meaningless once you hit high rank. Trust me, I grinded them out in low rank, and it was very sad to see that you really didn't need them. I wasn't sure how high rank worked, like if you needed low rank armor to upgrade it to high rank armor, but no, monsters will drop different parts for high rank armor than they do for low rank armor, so don't worry about grinding out low rank armor. It'll be fine. Now weapons keep going wrong paths, so making the weapons you want are a good investment of materials, but getting all the armors really isn't. Alright, now time to go take care of the Keston where they moved to, which I don't understand why we have to go take care of them when they were in the spot they were supposed to be. But hey, Monster Hunter, so let's go take care of them. Like I said, I'm just seeing some things to pick up and just kind of taking my time, getting resources that I will need eventually. So it's worth doing. You do have a good amount of time in all these missions, so there really is no super sense of urgency unless you're having a hard time with some of the bigger monsters, or just having a hard time in general, because some of them are tricky to beginners. I'm not gonna lie, like my first monster I saw that was kind of difficult would be Tobikadachi. I did beat him the first try, as I beat the air and missed everything. So there are going to be ones that are difficult. It might take you a while. And don't feel shame in that. It just comes naturally with this game. But yeah, Tobikadachi is my first monster that I had a hard time with. I did beat him the first try, but it was when I noticed that, okay, some of these monsters are going to take a little bit longer than all the rest of them have. You guys are tossing me around quite a bit. Luckily, having the hammer is good against these guys because their heads are really hard. So if you have like dual blades or a sword, sometimes you will bounce off their heads. But the hammer does blunt weapon damage, so because of the blunt damage, it's able to hit their heads without any repercussions. So that's nice. Actually, I had him dazed there, so that was really good. We'll get used to this, I swear. Like you see, these guys really don't do that much damage. But they are just a little bit annoying with their pushes. Hopefully I can sharpen my hammer. Ah, whew. That was good. That was good. Just in time. My Palico's taking care of this one over here, which is nice. And just like that, we got all the Kestodon.
Hey, come here. I think I found something.
Grab their parts. See, easy quest. And oh, he's disappearing as I carve him. In case you don't have that much time for those little guys. Big monsters do stay around quite a bit. I'll grab some bones. Oh, looks like I was out of time.
Look at those Kestodon. Something's up there.
And there goes the Great Jagras. And now we actually entered a different mission, I believe. And you see we now send an SOS flare up, which we will do eventually. I will show that off definitely in some of the other fights to see how matchmaking works. But first, I saw this little swordfish guy down here. And I haven't seen him before, so I kind of want to fish him up. And there is a reason for that. When we do eventually get a better room, I would like to have him in my aquarium, so let me just do that here really quick. show off my intense fishing skills. And there are some kind of quests that have to do with fishing, which usually aren't too bad. Nope, got the wrong guy there. But fishing is not mandatory by any means, so there are some optional quests, but it's something you can do for fun to get fish to put in your aquarium, or they give you certain items like wet scales, stuff like that. So it's not necessary, but just a fun little distraction. Oh, got him. I got him. See, some of the harder guys definitely give more of a fight than the little ones. Alright, yeah, that's cool. I never saw him before running around. Maybe I just didn't pay attention. I don't really come down when they cast it on much of my main file, so that'll be cool to put in there. Finish gathering some bones, because the bone armor is really good early on. I might have some pieces of that. And like I said before, I will spare you guys the grinding, because my god, this series would take forever if I had to show the grinding. So I'll be doing that off screen at some point, either after this quest or after the next quest. Alright, now we're on our first actual monster hunt. Yes, taking care of the little Jagras and the Kestodon kind of counted, but now we have a monster that we can sit here and actually rightfully track. Now, as you're tracking a monster, it's really important that you fill up as much of your gauge as you can and get as many tracks and signs as you can of the monster, because it helps your scout flies find the monster better, and it also increases your research, and the more you research them, the better. You'll be able to find their weaknesses, you'll be able to see what they drop, how to get it, because later on you're going to want to know how to get certain items off of certain monsters, like plates and gems. And, breaking certain parts of the monster increases those. Cutting off parts of the monster gives you more chances to carve them. It's good to know whether or not their tails are severable or not. And making sure you gather as much research as you can on the monsters when you're out hunting them is the best way to do this. And there are also builds with armor that you can increase how much your scout flies. The gauge increases when you find something, so you can speed up the research process. So there's tons of ways to do this without having to sink too much time into it. And if you're going to be grinding monsters for their parts in high rank, or once you're already beating the game and you just want to go through and research everybody, there's plenty of time to do it, and it definitely is worth your while. And I would 100% be behind the fact that you try to fill the bar as much as possible before you actually go fight the monster. Alright, now I'm going to go in there, try to find him. Despite like hundreds of hours in playing Monster Hunter World, the Ancient Forest still confuses me with all the tiny little pathways and where they lead. Maybe I'm just having a bad time having a good mental map. So if you get confused in the Ancient Forest, don't feel alone. It just happens. Alright, I see that I locked onto my target there. So he's pretty close. And I'm really curious to see how this Jagras fight goes with the hammer. Like I jokingly said in I think it was the first episode that if you have a hard time with the little Jagras, maybe this game's not for you. Of course I was joking, but and I also mentioned that Jagras is kind of like the first big monster you see when you get on the island, but he quickly becomes kind of a joke. And that definitely is the case here. I'm gonna walk by him, say hi, and start the beating. And the reason I bring up the little Jagras is because he's really just a more health version of those guys. He just has some more tricks than they do, but he's nothing really too intimidating once you realize how to fight him. I'm actually shocked I knocked him down with the hammer once already. But he's also a very, very good beginner monster. And if you are having trouble with Jagras, I would recommend just going in and watching his attacks. In fact, I'd recommend this for any monster you have problems with in this game. If you're having difficulty, go in there expecting not to win, but just watch their attack patterns. Try to get better at dodging their attacks. Because these monsters do have very recognizable patterns, very recognizable tells as to what they're going to do. Even some of the harder monsters do have this. They might be a little harder to realize because they're a little quicker, but they have tells. So if you're having trouble, instead of going and wasting healing items, just go in a few times, knowing you're going to lose, knowing you're going to die, just to see what you can learn.
Create some distance and use a whetstone.
Now, yes, you do get penalized with less rewards if you do die on certain things, but you know, it's good to do just to figure it out. Now, I'm going to go in here and do something that I don't really do much on my main file, but it's good to do. I'm going to hide to sharpen my weapon. I would highly recommend doing this, because finding time to sharpen weapons during some of the more intense fights is really hard. Going and hiding in the bush or something makes it so that you are safe, making sure that you have time to sharpen, because keeping your weapon at max sharpness is very, very, very important to keep doing the most damage you can do. Now, of course, the monster might lose you. They might still track you. That does happen sometimes. But it is worth trying to do when you want to sharpen your weapon. Alright, now I gotta find where Jagras ran off to. I'd be shocked if he already went back to his house. I mean, we laid a pretty decent beating on there, but I don't think it was anything too bad. But I will say I'm not used to getting the hammer damage as I play dual blades and bow, which can sometimes do a good amount of damage, but really are much less compared to the other weapons per hit. Where did he run off to? I didn't think I gave him that much time to run away. Ah, here he is. Ah, see, he went. Now that he's Fat Jagras, I mean, he came out here and he ate something to kind of heal his stamina, and it does change his moveset a little bit. He now has his puking attack, he now has his big fat rollover move. So that's one cool thing about Jagras, is that once he eats, he kind of changes his moveset. He's that big body slam. That kind of hurt. And here comes Palico with a little bit of healing. Having the Palico have a heal right off the bat was, I think, a really good choice. Try mount. Ah, here we go. Got a good mount on him. Because it really does help new hunters. Oh, I let him right into the trap there. There are a lot of environmental things that you can use against monsters that are really good and really, really helpful, especially against the more aggressive ones. They give you a good amount of time to keep stabbing him without him trying to thrash me off. And time to go boink him in the head. And I boinked him in the head enough to knock him over again. Now let's see, okay. Even though he kind of clipped to the ground here, I can still hit him in the head. Which is nice to know. You know, I didn't quite hit the big swing on him, but close enough. Alright, now you can see he's limping away. Though Monster Hunter World does not have health bars for the main monsters, which might turn some people off, the monsters do also have visual cues as to when they are hurt. And if you saw, he was kind of limping, which means that he is getting close to death. Also, on your little tiny mini-map there, that gives a lot of information away. If you look and see him, you will see that he'll have a little skull next to his little icon as he runs away as well. I'm going to take care of these little Jagras just for the little Jagras parts, in case I want to make some of their armor or make some of their armor for my Palico. Alright, that guy survives for now. Don't feel like chasing them. I'll just get these guys. Now it's pretty cool. Later on you can find optional quests to find little cat creatures here in the forest, and in every area has their own little ones called Grimalkins, that if you find them, they will teach your Palico how to tame a monster in the area. And in this area, you can actually help tame Jagras. And it's very helpful for later on missions, especially when you're by yourself, to have that extra target for monsters to go after. I might show how to find those guys as an optional quest, because one thing I did realize is I'm not going to show all the optional quests I thought I was going to, but after beating this game on my main file, I realized there are a ton of optional quests. So I might show some of the optional quests, but I'm definitely not going to show all of the optional quests. So I might show those because I know it'll be very helpful to find out where they are, and the rewards for finding those guys are very substantial and very, very helpful. Alright, let's see. Here's Mr. Jagras. He's taking a nap. Well, time to give him a very rude awakening. Now, one thing very important is the first hit you do when waking a monster up will do increased damage if they're sleeping. So later on against hard web enemies, it's good to use bombs to do massive damage. Or if you have like a great sword, using a leveled up charge attack is a great idea to do. Or if you're trying to capture them when they're sleeping, there is a good time to capture them and trank bomb them. But I'll go into doing that a little bit later on once we have the supplies. Alright, now once you beat the monster, you carve him up, get the parts you need, and that's really about it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. Hopefully you guys learned some things. Hopefully you had a fun time. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.